Hello there and welcome to a special Halloween edition of LMP's The Huddle. I am Zombie Dustin Lead and this is Undead Keith Schweigert. This week, it's week 9 and you voted for our game of the week of Northern Lebanon and Donegal. Keith, take it away.
Sorry. Dustin, this game has huge implications not only for the Section 3 title race, but also for both teams' attempts to get into the District 3 Class AAA playoffs. Right now, Donegal is 5-3 overall and 3-1 in Section 3. They're a game behind Northern Lebanon, and they can claim a share of first place if they win this week. So Donegal is kind of a long shot to get into the district playoffs at this point. They're ranked 25th in the power rankings, and only the top 16 get in. So basically all they can do is win their last 2 games and keep their fingers crossed. But if they don't get in, beating Northern Lebanon and getting at least a share of the section title would be a nice consolation prize. 2 weeks ago, Northern Lebanon was sitting pretty. The only suspense left was whether or not they were going to have a home game in the first round, but that was before they found out they'd have to forfeit 2 of their early season wins. They used an ineligible player. It was kind of an inadvertent thing, but they self-reported it and had to forfeit the games. So now their margin for error is basically down to 0 in terms of getting into the playoffs. Right now, if the playoffs started this week, they wouldn't be in. They're ranked number 17. So they need to win their final 2 games. If they do that, chances are they'll make it in, but they can't lose another one. So this should be a very good matchup. Both teams are ranked in the top 10 in both offense and defense among league teams. Northern Lebanon averages 367 yards per game on offense. Donegal's right behind them at 364. The Vikings allow 287 yards on defense. Donegal's a shade better at 280. So they're really close in terms of statistics. The biggest difference I can find is that Northern Lebanon has scored a lot more points. They have 356 this year. Donegal has 221. So that's a pretty big discrepancy. But I talked to Donegal coach Jeff Politis earlier this week. He thinks his team has a shot. Here's how he thinks things are going to shape up on Friday night when these 2 teams meet.
Well, it's tough to find weaknesses on their team. You know, they had a nice core lineman back. They really filled in their running backs and skill positions from what they had last year to this year. Those kids really stepped up and filled in, and they're going to be real hard to defend. And you know, they play physical defense, so it's going to be a nice challenge for us. Well, we got to try to stop the big play. To get a high school team to drive the ball, and if they score and earn the score, you know, hopefully we can respond. You know, as always, the turnover battle and the special teams are going to play a big part.
It's going to be a meaningful game with Donegal and Northern Lebanon in week 9. It's always a little bit more enticing when it comes down to the last few weeks of the season. Another big game in Section 2 is Solanco and Cocalico. Keith, talk to us about that game.
Well, right now, Solanco is sitting alone in first place in Section 2, and they're ranked 2nd in the District 3 AAA power rankings. So they're in pretty good shape in terms of both winning their first section championship since 1991 and making the playoffs, which would be a very big deal down in Quarryville. But they have 2 big obstacles that they need to clear. The first one comes this week. They have Cocalico. In week 10, they have Mannheim Central. So those are 2 tough games back to back. Cocalico right now is in 3rd place in the section, and they're currently out of the running for a district playoff berth, but they're still mathematically alive. But it all hinges on winning this week and winning again in week 10. And that's going to be a challenge for them. Solanco has the league's #1 offense and its #1 defense, so obviously they're not going to be an easy team to beat. It's going to come down to whether the Eagles can dent Solanco's run defense, which has given up a league-low 666 yards on the ground this season. And basically, Cocalico, that's pretty much all they do. That's their bread and butter. They have to run the ball to win. So if they can't get that ground game going, look out.
All right, everyone, and be sure to follow all of our coverage, our live blog and live scoreboard on LancasterOnline.com Friday night.
And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks a lot, everybody. See you next time.